Welcome to Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. I'm Steve Swat with the Sacramento Report. In the next few minutes, taking aim at gun violence. My guest, Roger Dickinson, a member of the State Assembly from Sacramento. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thanks, Steve.
So already in this legislative session, we've got probably a dozen or so bills aimed at guns and ammunition and who you can sell guns to and things like that. Probably end up with a few more, obviously after the Newtown, Connecticut shooting. You've got 3 of them in the works. Tell us about them.
I do, and I think the backdrop to this is not just the horrific events like those we've seen in Aurora and Tucson and Newtown, of course, but 32 people a day in America are murdered by gun. 32 people a day in and day out. Over 7,700 people last year in California, Steve, were victims of gun violence. So I've introduced 3 bills that will, I hope, reduce gun violence in some significant ways. Perhaps the most important of which is my proposal for a 5-cent bullet tax or tax on ammunition to help fund a early childhood screening and diagnostic program for mental health. This is a program that actually was cut out of the state budget last year because of a shortage of money. And I think we've got an opportunity to restore that program, and we know it's very beneficial. The second bill would actually have CalPERS and STRS, our 2 retirement systems for state employees and teachers, divest themselves of any stock or investments they have in companies that manufacture, sell, or market guns.
Now, they're already doing that on their own.
They're doing that on their own as a matter of policy. But my intention here is to put that in statute so we know that will be the policy of the state of California on an ongoing basis. And the third actually is a bill I carried last year, or similar to one that the governor ultimately vetoed. But there are certain guns called unsafe handguns that can be obtained legally by certain people in California, like law enforcement officers. But they can't otherwise be bought by anyone else in California. Nonetheless, these guns are transferred from those who buy them legally to those who can't otherwise buy them. And my bill would prohibit that from happening.
Let me ask you about a potential problem with all of these bills. California already has among really the toughest anti-gun restrictions in the country. Folks can go to Nevada. They can go to Arizona, where the laws aren't the same, and then bring all the weapons and the ammo into California. So, really, it's a really very difficult problem to solve.
It is a difficult problem. There's no question we need national action on this issue in order to have the optimal effect here in California. There's no getting around that. The Congress must act on this issue, and I hope they will. At the same time, I think we in California need to do what we can within our own boundaries to make sure that we're reducing gun violence to the maximum extent possible. And certainly the tax on ammunition is something. While we may not like taxes, this is a very reasonable step to take, in my opinion, to make sure that we cover mental health needs for kids.
You say it's reasonable, but I'm sure the other side would say a 5-cent tax on every piece of ammunition is basically trying to legislate guns out of business.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think that, based on what I know, that the ammunition will become any more unaffordable. But I also don't think it's really distinguishable from, say, taxing cigarettes to help fund health programs for children, which is exactly what we do with Proposition 10. And it's been a very effective program. I think it's a very fair tax because we know the costs of gun violence are enormous.
All right. Well, we're certainly going to watch the progress of these 3 bills moving forward. Roger Dickinson, thanks for coming by. We appreciate it.
Thank you as always, Steve.
And thanks to our viewers for watching Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. You can see this and other interviews also on YouTube and on My Government on Demand. I'm Steve Swat. Thanks for watching.